Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hope you all are doing great. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin. So, taking a look at our daily candle for Sunday, we actually got that nice swing low here. Started getting that move up, back up into this range that I've been targeting. However, we got rejected by the bottom of it. So, I was hoping that yesterday and through today, we would stay above 63,600, between 63,600 and 63,940. That was kind of my ideal situation, mainly because that would have put you back above the weekly 200 MA here. Now, it's not necessarily a horrible thing that we lose this. I didn't want to see it mainly for a bullish, more of a bullish case. There is a potential that next week we basically, get a green candle, kind of similar to what we did here, to bring us back above it. But I just don't like the fact that price wants to flirt with it so much. Now, given the summer months, it is very much to be expected that this is going to happen. We just have to make sure that we don't get the death cross, right, where the 21 drops below the 200. Because if we get that death cross, guys, that's basically going to mean that more than likely, probability wise, we're going to head to the 2 week 200 MA, and it's not even showing on here. Um, I believe if I pull up a Binance chart, that's going to be, yeah, 43,740. So essentially, we're going to lose this, discount area that we're in currently, and it's going to fall into a deeper discount, which wouldn't necessarily be bad. I believe this would still be some sort of 786 retracement if I were to pull this up. Let's see. Yeah, so you're still looking at some sort of 786 retracement off of 46,561 potentially. This is going to be kind of your last stop before then you start getting into like 42,000 and then potentially 39,000 even below 40. So, um, we want to see, again, the 2 week or sorry, the 1 week 200 MA hold that line. That's going to be your ideal situation, okay? So I do not want to see Bitcoin lose, that 1 week 200 MA. This is gonna, especially with the death cross. So it's okay to lose it. We just can't get the death cross. Let's go back and take a look. So this was promising. The only thing that kind of concerned me was the fact that we just basically, for the most part, just kind of traded up. We didn't really have too much of a low. We had a $20 low basically on this candle. So, very interesting sign. 12 hour could potentially be getting a reversal here. I don't want to see the weekend doing a lot of crazy things. Unfortunately, we already started kind of doing a little bit of that. It's not like a huge range. I mean, we're talking about it looks like almost $1,000, so not too bad, but I still don't like to see the weekend being expansive, right? 8 hour, 10 hour is still looking halfway decent. I mean, those moving averages are so bundled up together, guys, that just tells me that, there's a potential we could get a violent move up, sooner rather than later. Another big thing was that yesterday we did create a new low for the week. We basically wiped out this, I believe it was a double bottom on some of the smaller time frames, but yeah, so we wiped out that double bottom and then we wiped out this wick that took that out. So, um, you know, enough liquidity, in my opinion, has been taken to the downside. If it wanted to reverse, it could. Um, Timing wise, I don't want to see it reverse right now, but if it wanted to, I understand why it would. There's always a potential we get the rollover. It's just that we took so much liquidity down here. I don't know if there's enough yet or enough bridges to keep bringing us down. There's a good potential that we bounce from here and we start getting, at least we're getting rejected off of 64, 65K again, somewhere up here, before we continue our move downward. You gotta think it's always about building enough liquidity and enough bridges to keep bringing you down or bringing you up. So in my opinion, and again, you know, I'm not, I'm not always 100% accurate, or it's very rare where price will usually tend to follow a direction that I'm saying, mainly because I'm going fully based off of liquidity and time, but nobody's going to ever be 100%, and this is all just guesswork that we're doing, right? This is probabilistic guesswork that we're doing. So, That being said, you know, you could target down here, right? If we were to get the rollover, my instinct is telling me that more than likely we're gonna, you know, you start kind of consolidating above this range either today or tomorrow. Even though we have the death cross on the 4 hour, the 6 hour, we you know we don't have the death cross yet, but we did lose the 200 MA. We're using it as resistance. The only thing again, guys, giving me hope is the 8 hour and the 10 hour and how close these MAs are. That's like literally the only thing that's basically telling me, you know, don't be so willing to short right now. Um, so anyways, that being said, that is what I'm seeing kind of on your meso time frames. Now, when it comes to your smaller time frames, you know, I would be looking for the 1 hour and the 2 hour to start consolidating, making more of a potential reversal, getting these moving averages tight again. Your 15 minute, you're still hanging above the 200 MA, so definitely not too bad there. Did get a bounce off of that quite a few times. But Sunday, you know, today could be definitely be a day that we just chop around, right? We just chop around. We don't really do anything. We, I mean, and that would be the ideal situation mainly because Saturday kind of had more of an expansive move. It wouldn't be a bad thing for Sunday to chop around. It's just if it's going to move, I want it to move up because of the weekly 200 rather than down. Okay. That being said, guys, for levels, I would be watching. You know, if we're gonna maintain that bullish bias, I definitely want to see us keep the 62,000 area. We did wick down into 62. What was a 62 231 ish area. So I would say, you know, for the most part, keeping the support line at 62 109 is going to be important if we're going to maintain a bullish any sort of bullishness on the smaller time frames. You know, if we lose this, then you can target 61, 124, 60,622, somewhere down here. If you're able to claim this and basically keep this area, this order block in this area, you know, you can expect us to get that slow grind up into, hopefully, into this range. Okay. So for right now, still going to target between 63.6 and 63.940 to hopefully get back in here and get that bounce off of that 200 MA on the weekly. All right, that being said, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at liquidity, see how that aligns with that perspective. Um, so your 4 hour. Your 4 hour is telling me that, you know, unfortunately, there's a good probability that you're going to visit 60,000, you know, 800-ish area potentially before you get a bounce. What could happen is we could potentially chop out the rest of the day, um, you know, until about 5 p.m. or even later, get that drop right into this pool, and then skyrocket from there. You know, have that head and shoulders play out, but then flip on the shorts and basically start reversing on them. That is a possible play, and that would potentially, if we were bullish next week, that would occur Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, right, as a start of the weekly candle. So that's something that I would be looking for if we're going to have a bullish week next week. Okay. We would want to see a drop into here, you know, taking out this liquidity and then getting that reversal to the upside. Hopefully building some bridges by then. Okay. Taking a look at the 1 hour. So let's take a look and see what's going to happen more so for the day through the night here. So the 1 hour does show that we have a tiny bit of liquidity above that resistance line at 63,351. You do have enough to potentially bring you up and take out this double top right here. Whether or not you can keep consolidating moving up is going to be a bigger question if there's enough liquidity to keep us going upward. For the time being, though, if we were going to get that move down, I would expect for us to bounce around 62.8-ish area, probably taking out this pool and then getting that bounce to the upside. We do have enough bridges to go back up. It's just that usually the market likes to trick, trap, and fool, right? So, you know, you want to see basically more of a draw to the downside if we are going to reverse first, okay? The 50x does tell us that there would be a potential bridge to get us down even lower into the 61,800-ish range. I'm not expecting that for today. That is definitely a possibility that some of this will start getting taken out once we get the new weekly candle coming in. I'm not expecting it yet from a time frame perspective. Can it happen? Absolutely, but I'm just not quite expecting that move just yet. More so within the intraday action, I'm either expecting a move up from here or we come down into the 62.7-ish, 62.8-ish area and then get that bounce and start taking out some of this liquidity up here. Okay. kind of a almost like a cup and handle. It'd make an inverse head and shoulders. Like I mentioned, that inverse cat ears, right, that we talked about. Except it's just turning now into more of a cup and handle type of situation. So inverse cat ears definitely playing out, guys. That was a very interesting call that I did, but that definitely started playing out there. Um, let's see, 15 minute, getting that bounce off of the 200 like we talked about on the other trading view chart. Again, would be targeting about 62.7, 62.8 as a potential bounce area if it did want to build out that handle a little bit more. Nothing, out of the ordinary. It is a big possibility that we don't need to drop down into here and we're just going to start, slowly grinding our way up, maybe taking out, like I said, this double top up here, this bearish divergence. I would first target 63.8 before we get that bigger move up into 64.6. But this would be kind of my first area for today I would target as a potential high for right now. So 63.8-ish, 63, 7-ish, I would target to take out this wick up here. Your order book, the open market, not really showing us too much. Very, very light on the order book. You do have a small order up at 64,000, so it does allude to the fact that we could start getting up into here. You do have a very, very tiny orders to the bottom. Just be very, very careful the way that you're trading today, guys, because it's very low volume and there's not any real, bots trading right now. It's just kind of they're letting people kind of do their thing. So um, just be aware of that. This is not like the ideal day to trade. We had more of an expansive move yesterday, but today I doubt we're probably going to get another expansive move. It's probably going to consolidate quite a bit. So relax, enjoy your weekend. Never financial advice, but there are times where you need to take a step back from the charts and just ground yourself, get ready for the following week, making sure that you're mentally prepared for it, any expensive moves that are coming up. These are definitely days that you don't want to pay a lot of attention to and you just want to just kind of relax. Even if we get a follow through to the upside to about 63.7, you got to think that's only $600 up from where we're at. So definitely not like it is during the week, right? That being said, guys, let's take a look real quick at the simple map, see what that's doing, and then we will go from there. So simple map, let's take a look at our liquidity that we have here. I kind of call it my VRVP, right, through liquidity. So basically telling you that you're gonna have to get past 62,790 to the downside. If so, let's take a look at both scenarios. Moving to the downside, you're gonna have to go get through 62,790 as a support zone. Then you'd have to get through 62,500 as another support zone, and then finally 62,190 as your kind of final support area before you start diving into this major pool of liquidity. So that's kind of three different areas to target for your move to the downside, and then to the upside. So as resistance levels, you're going to look at 63,390. That's going to be your first area of resistance. You get past there, you can get up to about 63,630. Your second area of resistance, and then you can get about 63,720. If you get past 63,720 though, you can kind of just basically fall through all of this and really get up to about 64,650. So really targeting 63,720. If you get past that, 63,700 like I was targeting, you can just basically fall through liquidity and you can get all the way up to 64,650. Okay. Let's take a look at our swing time frames. Usually it has been reflecting our smaller time frames, so nothing different there. Same type of thing. To the downside, support zones to look for 62,790, 62,490, and then finally 62,190 before you get more of a follow through to the downside. And then if you start getting that move to the upside, you're looking at 63,390, 63,720, and then obviously again, like I said, moving all the way through here, 64,650. You kind of just fall through after that point. So anyways, guys, that is what I'm seeing for the day. Neither really extremely bullish or bearish. If we are going to get the move up, expect a slight move to the downside, potentially taking out some of this liquidity, and then a slow grind back up. I don't personally think we're going to get into the 64,000s today, but just know that, once we get past the 63,720, there is a very good chance that, price action will literally just rip to the upside, you know, all the way to 64,650, about $1,000 rip. That's what I'm seeing so far in this grid here. So that being said, guys, you know, that is what I'm seeing for the day. As usual, if you guys want to use Trading Different and its tools, feel free to use my code Sean. You'll get 10% off of your entire order. Being able to see liquidity and being able to identify trend. It's an amazing tool suite. Always will recommend it to you guys. But that is what I have for you for right now. Like I said, enjoy your Sunday. Don't put too much weight into these charts for today. I will let you guys know if otherwise, if I see something that is a potential, you know, strong move up. But I'm going to relax myself for the day, getting ready for the week to come, because we are going to probably have an exciting month for August. That being said, guys, I will talk to you all later on this evening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.